You know, the Templars and the Freemasons believed that the treasure was too great for any one man to have, not even a king. That's why they went to such lengths to keep it hidden.
National treasure follows the quest for the lost treasure of the Knights Templars, possibly passed down over generations, from the ancient Templar Knights to the Scottish Freemasons, and then, just maybe, to the founding fathers of America. But could any of this be real? Who are the Knights Templars, and what happened to their treasure? Is it hidden and awaiting discovery? Controversy and mystery shroud almost every theory on where the treasure is, but certain facts are beyond dispute. Like that George Washington was the head of the Masons in the New World, and he used Freemasons to form the officers of the Revolutionary Army. Nearly half the signers of the Declaration of Independence were Masons, and a number of people involved in writing the Constitution were Masons. Paul Revere and John Hancock were Masons, and these founding father Masons, they just may have known something about the Templar treasure. So, who were these Templar Knights who had accumulated great riches over the centuries? They were formed in 1118 in Jerusalem to protect Christian pilgrims in the time following the First Crusade. It is widely held that they uncovered King Solomon's treasure in Jerusalem about this time. Over 2 centuries, they carried the treasure they had captured back to Europe, and they grew in power until the King of France, threatened by their growing might, had nearly all of them seized at the same time.
If one goes back in history to see what happened to the ancients, they were suppressed. A large number of them were arrested, tortured, and some killed. Even the Grand Master was killed.
This was Friday, the 13th of October, 1307. The Templars had bad luck on that day, establishing a superstition that survives some 700 years later. After more than 2 centuries of influence in Europe, any surviving Templar Knights were on the run. Many traveled to Scotland, to Rosslyn, with treasure perhaps.
In Scotland, they found a convenient way to meld into the society by joining the Masonic lodges.
The Templars designed the most mysterious stone chapel in all of Northern Europe, at Rosslyn, perhaps with an eye towards hiding the treasure. The film claims the treasure found its way to America, but could that be so?
Parkington Lane.
Why would they move it from Rosslyn Chapel if that's where it lay?
Why would the map lead us here, then take us somewhere else?
At the end of the 14th century, life was difficult for the Templar Knights, and the treasures were not safe, as England was determined to have Scotland as its own. The Templars intended to establish 2 colonies in the New World, one at Nova Scotia, another to the south, in what is now New England. But what of the treasure? Was it later brought here? Wherever Masons went, they brought their marks. Wherever Templars went, they brought their marks.
So 3rd degree Master Mason.
Could American Freemasons, centuries afterwards, decode the clues of a Templar treasure map?
I was greatly impressed to see the relationship between our forefathers and Masonry. About half of the people who signed the Declaration of Independence were Masons. A number of people involved in the writing of the Constitution were Masons. Benjamin Franklin was a Mason.
It is conceivable that the American founding fathers, many of whom were Masons, could decode clues left behind in a new world. Our quest to retrace the journey of the Templar treasure through the centuries has led us from Jerusalem through Europe to New England. Was this the final stop? Right now, all we have are mysteries. Mysteries and tantalizing clues. There was once a great treasure, and the question remains, can something like that simply vanish? Or is it out there, waiting for us to find it?